To go for 1 or 2%, you need a high amount of capital to actually make a living out of it. Or you have to go through platforms and pay a bunch of money with their strict rules. Not a lot of people can survive the strict rules.
Not a lot of people have the capital to go with $10,000 to $20,000 to put on trading.
So what my focus was is that if I have an EA that can potentially help me to make 20% today, and that was my main focus. My main focus was only 20% today. Now I was happy with 10%, of course, but my main focus is 20%, and that sort of drive me to build an EA that can do exactly what I want. This account was started off with $484.50. We had a bonus in the account, Anchor Trade, which was this is the bonus. Within those 4 days, we grew the account to $1,187. So the account grew 145.3% in just 4 days. And here is the proof of those results. So as you can see on the 16th, we did 11% gain. And these are the trades. On the 17th, we did 36.27%. These are the trades. On the 18th, we did 32.17%. These are the trades. So this was interest rate. The interest rate, we closed these trades up. These were buys. Then once we started entering, all these other trades came in and made our target. And then Thursday, this was the new target was 190 something, and we cleared 238.
All right, folks, here we are on Trading Nut. We've got a complete and utter unique experience for you. We've actually got a trading family in the house, which is a first for the show and possibly a first even for the internet. Father, mother, daughter, all traders, and one of them is a client on my Robot Builders Club, and you're going to find out how this all transpired and what it all means for you in the show and the lessons you can take away. Now, I want to go through quick before we introduce you some of the stats here. Jai is a member of the Robot Builders Club. So he did 300% in 1 week, working a full-time job and building robots. So keep that in mind. We've got Annika, who turned 1K to 12K in 2 weeks, and Angelina, her daughter, who turned $50 into $850 in 2 months. So we're going to dive in and, first of all, meet these people before we find out a little bit more about what they're doing and how they did this. So, to start off with, Jai, do you want to just introduce yourself and your family?
Yes, so I'm Jai, my wife and daughter. I started trading roughly in 2019. I started learning about trading. I needed to get into something new in order to not stay at a dead-end job forever. So I started learning how to trade. After about a year, I got confident enough to start trading live full-time at home. So I've done that for 2 years. And in between that time, I had joined the Robot Builders Club, so that I can start building robot and trying to figure out a way how I can automate stuff. However, during the 2 years of trading, we were doing good. And then, when FOMO sets in and all these confidence of entering trade, it goes up and down. So we took some major hits towards just before me starting to work. And then my broker closed down and took everything away from us. So I had to go back to work. During the time I was working, during the 2 years actually that I've been home trading, I've been building the robot continuously, working on the same strategy every single day. I would put in roughly 8 hours a day most of the time for 2 years straight. And then while working this past year, I would come home at night, work on it, and then every weekend I would work on it until like 5 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays, I would work on it until 5 a.m.
Jeez.
In order to fix all the errors. So every day I would come home looking for errors to fix while I was working. So during that time, I didn't realize this until recently that actually, because I had the exact same system every day for a year, and I've monitored it every day for a year, I've memorized everything that works and everything that doesn't work, and how it applies to price action. So once I've figured out how everything works visually regarding the robot and its data that it gives, it allows me to trade price action more effectively and more confidently. So, all my FOMO went away. because of that. And now I'm ready to actually focus on my next step of trading into going back full time into trading again.
Now, if you're loving the show and thinking, where can I go and trade? Why don't you check out my prop firm sponsor, Blue Guardian. Now, these guys have been around for ages. They've been sponsoring Trading Up for over a year. And some of the key features that make them so good is that they've got realistic profit targets for their challenge phases. It's only 8 or 4%. They also have a scaling plan up to $2 million. And they do profit splits of 85%, which is really high for this industry. They also have quick and reliable payouts and a robust reserve that make sure those payouts are as seamless and smooth as possible. Now, if you're looking to join, go and check them out. But first, grab my coupon code TradingNut, all one word. You're going to save yourself 25% off at checkout. There's a link in the description. Go and click that now. Right, let's get back on with the show. Now, to put it into perspective here for you folks, so Jai, started off with the Robot Builders Club, but Annika, his wife, has basically been studying price action for ever since like Jai got into trading, I believe, and is kind of an expert in that space. And then Jai decided to teach his daughter, Angelina, how to trade from scratch, like with no experience and I suppose very little time, just to prove that the robot and the method that he uses with his robot actually works. So this is how it all sort of pieced together, which is kind of awesome. The whole family into trading here. So do you want to sort of just jump into Annika, and maybe you can talk about your trading journey today and how you sort of navigated the markets to get to where you are now, where you've got that like high level of, I suppose, charting knowledge.
Yes, it was hard. It seems like I have accomplished it in 3 years, but it was so much work. I always had a niche for higher time frames. No matter what happened, I kept going to the higher time frames. And Jai would pull me back and say, focus on the lower time frames. I know what's going to happen in a month. Just tell me what's going to happen in the 30 minutes, in the 1 minute. And so I went in a lower time frame for a while, played around with 1 minute and 5 minutes. And then I started going. It didn't work out so well for me because 1 minute bars are going up and down, FOMO hits, I was successful and then I would lose. I went through all the checklists of every single trader that goes through, the FOMO, the highs and the lows, and basically went through the 30-minute and an hourly chart. And I had a bucket list every single time. What made me successful is that I never stopped learning. So ambition and determination was so much that I always had a bucket list for myself, which that's what I taught Angelina, to always have a bucket list. So if you're learning something, always be in the lookout that I actually want to achieve this. For example, I want to be able to read a 30-minute chart, 4-hour chart. I want to be able to predict every single bar that is happening. So even though I was failing while I was thinking that I am winning, and then I would fail miserably, I would go to lose, and then I would go to break even, and then I would go to
losing again,
breaking
even again,
and then breaking even, and then all those emotions. And finally, I do agree with everyone who have ever said, as a successful trader, whoever said that you need patience and money management. That I agree 100%. And definitely having to set your trades, meaning that this is when the market goes here, I am going to take a trade. When it goes here, I'm going to take a trade. If you do anything otherwise, which I used to disagree, you lose.
Is there anything you actually disagree with now? Like you say you agree with those two things. Is there anything you disagree with which is common knowledge?
I haven't found anything. I used to disagree a lot when they used to say, because I used to predict when the market goes up and does the pullback. And I was so good at it. And I would disagree when the boys would say, all these guys would say, when it goes there, you just wait until it gets there, then you take your trade. I would disagree strongly. And then I would take those pullbacks. I would say, why don't I just take when it goes up and when it comes down? Because I'm such a genius, I can just take all the money from the market, and I would fail.
Right. Okay. I was going to say, let's dive into Angelina here and find out. So how was that journey from like completely, you're only like quite young, 18 or 17 maybe when you started? 18. So how did...
I'm sorry if I interrupt you. It's just that I didn't really, the way I started, it's a bit more to it. There's like an extra kind of elaboration there. When I was first introduced to trading, it was maybe around when I was 15, when my dad first was like, learning trading, and he was getting into it. He was learning about it. And over time, of course, my mom learned about it, and they would spend long nights just putting everything they had into it. I was in school, of course, and I couldn't focus on it. Of course, I was introduced to it. I did, only later on, I started to kind of learn more about it because of my parents. And of course, when you're younger, when I was young, I didn't fully have I didn't fully have a goal of what I wanted to do in my future. And trading, then they showed me this career, and I realized the opportunity that it gave to get to earn possibly like large profit out of it. And of course, money got me interested. Anyone who is shown the idea of earning a lot of profit, and it gave me a path that I could follow. So by 16, I started to really get into it. That was when I decided this is the path I'm going to take. This is the career that I want to follow. But like I said before, I couldn't focus on it. I had a hard time because of school. And once I turned 18 now, I got to actually focus on it more. I graduated actually a semester early just so I could focus on this career and just so I could get into trading more and learn more about it. And thankfully, because of my dad and, well, of course, my mom as well, teaching me basic price action to go along with the robot. And because of him teaching me the robot to help me actually both learn and trade at the same time, make some money out of it, to also kind of motivate me even more. And I'm actually very grateful the fact that he joined your Robot Builders Club, because what happened was he got to make this robot that offered signals and made me grow my confidence. And it allowed me to just get into it, have kind of a baseline to follow, understand, okay, these are the possible trades I can take. And all it took was simple price action. And I'm not a great trader. I'm not a great trader in the least. Definitely not as good as my mom and my dad. I definitely have a far way to go, but the robot is definitely getting me on the right track. So, okay. Yeah.
And then you got a little baby there as well. So
I'm a little distracted.
And that's part of the reason why Annika is like stop trading, because you just had to look after your 3-year-old. Now going back to Jai, so Jai, you obviously got to the point where this bot was pretty much giving the signals you were happy with, needed some manual intervention in terms of like, only start trading with it at this particular point in time. And you use Annika for that as well. So she, basically says off this level, you want to start looking for shorts, and the bot's going to give you the confidence to take those trades. Now, One thing that people will probably be quite interested in is that you've, for whatever reason, I'm not too sure, maybe you can explain it, gone for a very high risk, well, not high risk, let's call it a high reward approach. So you're looking, when you jumped in the Robot Builders Club chat, you're like going, guys, I've got a bot here that's generating me sort of 10 to 20% a day, and that is like very, very high for, and it's not strictly a bot, but as a bot with manual, it's very high. What made you decide to go down that track of I'm going to go for 10, 20% a day instead of just a regular kind of 1 or 2%?
Well, because to go for 1 or 2%, you need a high amount of capital to actually make a living out of it. Or you have to go through prop farms and pay a bunch of money with their strict rules. not a lot of people can survive the strict rules.
Not
right,
a lot
that
of
they
people have the capital
So-
to go with $10,000 to $20,000 to put on trading.
So what my focus was is that if I have an EA that can potentially help me to make 20% today, and that was my main focus. My main focus was only 20% today. Now I was happy with 10%, of course, but my main focus was 20%, and that sort of drive me to build an EA that can do exactly what I want. So this way, when I take a trade, I don't have to worry about, okay, I need to put 100 pip in order to get my 20%. I can actually just max leverage this for 50 pips. So the EA gives me an average of 50 pips every day, right? It predicts hundreds of pip move. Well, usually it predicts a trade. So it would go from 6 o'clock in the day, 7 o'clock, whenever the high volume comes in. My assumption is market always gives me at least 50 pips from the time high volume comes in. So I want to shave off 50 pips, and I can calculate if I max leverage or if I use X amount of lot size in a confident trade, then during high volume I can get that amount of money. So as I monitored the EA and kept building on top of it, I figured out which signals work and which signals don't, and I've set up the indicators on the robot so I can sort of look at data such as volume and divergence and basic fanning out EMAs to just give me in a second where the market is pointing at the moment, right? So I'm using indicators for those.
It's interesting. So what we'll do is we'll dive in and have a look at this bot in action in a minute. What was interesting about what you said, I think before the show when we had a chat, you were talking about the fact that you focused on one particular bot that you just kept building upon and building upon and building upon versus like, I'm going to try this strategy, that strategy, this strategy. I mean, you've got a ton of stuff in this bot. It is like you guys are going to get to see what actually drives it in a minute. But that was quite interesting. It was like, I suppose a lesson to take away was that sort of sole focus on just one thing and just tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until you got there. Now, what would be another couple of lessons that potentially Annika and Angelina, maybe you guys picked up from all your, experience with trading? Just like one lesson each, maybe.
When people ask, I want to go trading just to have money on the side, I do not recommend trading. Since Angelina's friends heard that she's a trader, they all say, I want to go into trading to make some extra money on the side. And she tells them all one answer. This is not for quick cash grab. This is not plot to fast get rich scheme. This is a career move. You have to make a decision and stick with it.
Gotta put your blood, sweat, tears.
I do not recommend trading, period, to anyone. So unless you are extremely motivated and ambitious person who is willing to make sacrifices. In our case, we had to make sacrifices as well. When I gave birth to my baby, who is 3 years old right now, we had to make sacrifices. I had to take care of the family and take care of everything in the house. And while trading, as well as Jai had to make sacrifices, family time, to build a robot. We had to make physical and some sort of sacrifices that not able to take care of ourselves, not to go to the gym, certain other sacrifices. Unless you're willing to make some sort of sacrifice in your life, have patience. It's cliche. Determination. Have the time and patience and discipline, military discipline, to put your whole world. The trading has to be your world. If you can't do that, trading is not for you.
And so how many hours do you think you put in front of the charts yourself to get to where you are?
Well, in order for me to factually answer that question, I have to say it this way. From the morning, because I was home, till the middle of the night. Every chance I got, if I was cooking, back to the charts. Do something, back to the charts. All day. Sometimes would go all the way to 3 in the morning. So it was always learning. I would sit in the chart nonstop, not move from this chair, and stare at the chart and see what went wrong. Every time I would lose, I would have to find out what went wrong, and I would figure it out. So I cannot answer that question by saying how many hours.
Yeah, it
It
was a
was
lot.
basically
It was a lot of
it was
hours.
basically every single moment I had put on the charts because it was my ambition, because I was doing it for my family. I wasn't doing it for myself. I was doing it when Jai went back to work. I was doing it for him because my family were taken care of. He was taking care of us. He was bringing in income. Now my priority was him, so he can quit and stay home.
Okay. And what about you, Angelina? Have you got any sort of a lesson that you took away from the experience you've had?
Honestly, I mean, my mom said it all, but if I really were to say it from my own experience, it definitely taught me about commitment, because it made me see things in a different way, especially as someone as young as me, who didn't know what she wanted in life, who didn't have a direct path until trading. It definitely made me realize the commitment you have to put into something. And like my mom said, the ambition you have to put, the amount of hours you have to put into something in order to achieve the goal you want. And I think that, especially what I've heard from other traders out there, it definitely affects you personally. It affects how you see life. I mean, the amount of commitment you have to put into this one thing makes you really appreciate other parts of your life, makes you realize the effort you have to put into everything.
And you have to be a
anything.
self-starter.
That's true. And a self-starter, as my parents constantly tell me, you have to be a self-starter, Angie. You have to have the ambition. You have to put in the hours.
I
And
think
how many-
building the robot helps a lot too. I would definitely recommend, to be honest, when you ask me if I would recommend someone to start in with the Robot Builders Club, because this will help them if they're interested in coding, if they're interested in logic and common sense, and they don't know how to approach trading. They would go and try to play with it, and it will actually motivate them to go learn some indicators and then go learn some price action. You can approach trading in different ways, finding your motivation. For example, most people are interested in computers and coding. So I would actually recommend Robot Builders Club because it's something that would push them towards trading and learning more about it, price action and indicators. I think it would help.
Oh, look,
Yeah,
I completely agree. It is definitely an outlet for anyone that's, looking at,
actually,
well, that is trading, right? So if you're trading
Right.
and you see something on a chart and you go, well, does that thing have any validity? Does it have an edge? I mean, I can go away and build something up in like a few minutes and be able to see whether or not that thing actually has an edge and or where it's going to fall down by either placing some trades on it or through a back test, or even just putting some arrows or whatever on a chart and then having a look and going, okay, well, it failed there. I thought it was good, but in actual fact, it needs a little bit more filtering to make it work. So that's
Instead
how
of
I...
gaming,
Yeah, instead of gaming. How do you combine the manual approach that Annika's got with what you're doing with the bot? I mean, can you explain that?
because she's good at analyzing the chart to a point where she can predict the pinpoints of reversal points. All I have to do is wait for her to say sell, and I'll wait for the robot to shift sell and prove that sell correct.
Right.
If she says buy, I'll wait for it to shift and prove that buy correct. Now, if we are in opposite terms of analysis, so if the robot is saying it's a buy and she's saying it's a sell, I'm not trading that day because I need her to be right and me to be right. But
Right.
because what makes it successful as well is because my brain doesn't function the way she does. She's more out of the box. I'm more of inside the box and use what you know. She is like, she thinks about what could possibly manipulate the chart, what's going on across the world, what's going on with this war, stuff like that.
I analyzed the United States economy
So
as well as the Australian gold chart, European gold, XAU euro, and basically the economy itself. Because we are trading gold USD, I am analyzing the United States economy.
Right, and she does the she puts all the effort into drawing up XAU or AUD and Euro as well, as if she's going to take a trade on them, right down to the 5 minute chart. And unless all three of those gold charts are ready and they're slightly off, they're not off by a lot, they're slightly off, but you'll see Aussie is not ready to go, but USD is pumping, gold USD is pumping, and we will know that's a fake out, right? So it's sort of, the other charts gives you hints, and she does all that work for me in advance.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
robot does all the other work for me, so it keeps my brain freed up a little bit more to make confident decision when it comes to taking a trade.
Mm.
And I'm not overthinking, or I'm not using up too much brain power, because she's doing all the hard work over there, and I'm doing a little bit more easy work that I've created.
And when it's a range, I say it's going to range. If it's a weekly range, I predict it a week ahead, and I say it's going to hang out here for a while.
Right. So
we know what we're dealing with.
Exactly. So when she does those type of predictions, I wait for the EA to start moving in those directions she's making the predictions of. So if she says it's ranging, then I'm not expecting gold to move the actual ATR. I'm expecting it to move at least 75% of what it normally did. Or I would choose the slowest day and use that as my gauge.
Okay. And a couple of questions like around the entry. So you said you get to enter multiple times on every signal that comes through? Is that typically how it works?
No. So what it is, I would essentially, once volume is very high, and I make that first set of entry, I'm going to entry every time a bar goes up. So every time a 1 minute bar closes, I keep entering, and I keep entering, and I keep entering. And then when 1 minute starts shifting, I close everything.
Right.
By then, it's roughly about 50 pips because of the high volume.
But also because I know when it will stop.
Yes. So we have support resistances drawn up to where it tells us, okay, it has reached a zone. Either minimum low, or there's a rejection zone coming up, and we would get out there as necessary.
Yeah.
Right?
And
so
what about like risk management? How do you work out the risk that you're going to take on the trade, given the fact you haven't got a stop loss? Say you're going for this 20%, 10% profit target for the day. How do you do that? Have you got a calculation you use?
I do. I use so basically, when we started trading, we started testing with $50. Because we started off with $50 and was able to grow 50 into 200, into 500, into 800, that sort of stuck. And so that became the calculation. So if I have $100, it's 100 divided by 50 multiplied by 0.01. If I have $1,000, it's 1,000 divided by 50 multiplied by 0.01. If you have 100,000, it would be the same principle. Divided by $50 and multiplied by 0.01, which you're about maybe 20, 30 lots by then per trade. And that would be my minimum entry trade, right? So that's considered a minimum entry trade, and I can enter 3 or 4 of those before my account goes to max leverage. Right? So I am risking roughly almost 20% of the account with my first trade.
Gotcha.
Right? And I've calculated it. If the first trade I enter with the lot size calculated, if it goes 50 pips, I'm at 20%. But if I enter 2 or 3 more trade with the same lot size or higher, I don't have to wait for 50 pips anymore. I can just look at my account number and see that, okay, I've made $200 out of $1,000 account. I'm done. I've hit my target of 20%.
Yeah.
Right. So if I hit my target of 20% in 30 pips, I'm out.
Yeah. Okay. Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below. Cool, awesome. Hey look, guys, thank you very much for coming on and sharing this truly amazing story, really, that the fact that you're a trading family and you're doing so well. So to wrap things up, I mean, what can people do if they want to follow what you're doing and see a bit more? What can they do? Where can they go?
They can go to my YouTube channel, and from my YouTube channel they have the Telegram there as well, and they can contact me through Telegram for additional information. If also I'm starting to provide a Tomy signal service. So my YouTube channel is called Tomy Signals.
Gold signals.
Yeah, Tomy Gold Signals. I do provide signals there using the EA, and I validate it myself. So because everything we spoke about over here, it's completely transparent, and they can essentially learn from the channel, and I'll teach whatever they want to learn. But I'll be having the YouTube channel as my main area of communication.
Right now we're having 100% off.
Yeah.
It's $100 a month. In 7 days, that promotion will end. We will end that promotion. And if they go to Tomy Gold Signals to YouTube channel, there's a link to Telegram. When they click that link, it takes them to a payment right away. They become the members of the VIP Telegram.
Yeah, we will have
the
a
link
VIP
will be
Telegram
sent.
where we'll be showing the live feeds that we run every morning.
The link will be sent to them where to come every morning to trade. And there's also a tutorial video on YouTube, Tomy Gold Signals, where they can watch it to learn more about it so they can do the reading themselves. But because Jai and I will be trading every morning, and Jai will be telling them what to look at on the robot, they will learn to read the robot very well, very fast. It will not be complicated at all. Because they will be trading with us, the trades will be much safer as well. And that is the membership for. They will take trades with us. I will do the price action. They will get the signals, but they will say, okay, Jai will say, okay, I'm going to take a buy or I'm going to take a sell. And they will take those trades with us. And that is the membership for. Membership promotion starts now, and it's going to last 7 days. After that, it's going to cost $200 a month.
Okay, well, look, folks, what we'll do is we'll put a link below the video to get access to the show notes page, and on that will be the YouTube and everything else you need there if you do want to get involved. Now, folks, thanks for coming on again. It's lovely to have you, and great to see somebody from my Robot Builders Club really making it work and getting to this point. So thanks again, guys.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, folks, they mentioned the Robot Builders Club a few times in here. So Jai is a member. You can see what he's done. There's a whole bunch of other members in there that are doing great things as well. Now, if you do want to learn how to automate your own trading and you want to do it without any coding at all, then check out my Robot Builders Club. Currently offering a 60% off discount coupon. If you do want to come on board this week, jump on. There's a link below the video here. You're going to learn all about it. We use a tool called FX Streamer, which requires no coding at all. It's all drag and drop. So even if you're not great with code, it's going to be easy enough to pick up after you've taken the course. All right, folks, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.